All right, so I'm going to remember to check before I talk for too long. Hopefully you can hear me. It is, in fact, a party. Ruth is right. Bonjour, Paul. Hello, Deb B. Colette. Annalisa. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, loud and clear. Good. I was just going to say, if not, I was just practicing names. All right. I think we're probably going to have a light number of folks. I should have remembered, although I did not, to set up a link before we left. So, hey there to Brian Sweeney. We might be short a couple bills unless Bill J is here. I know Bill B will not be able to make it, at least live. So, yeah. So, hey, there's Saban. Patagonia Lake was fantastic. We got to see. I can't remember the name now. I think they're called the red crested blackbird. Maybe they have like a red and yellow like on their wings, and then some of them have it like underneath. And we got to see them flying around at night. And they were doing red-winged blackbird. Thank you. And it was unbelievable, like really cool. They all flock towards the Sonoyta Creek side of the lake, and then they take off and fly together. Not quite the murmurations that you see, but very, very coordinated swarms. It's unbelievable. Super, super cool. So, yeah. Yes, Paul. Is anyone else doing immersion? So immersion started. I should probably drop a link to immersion. I'm not part of immersion this year, but it started today, I think. So, and what Paul is asking about, you can find out more information at the gounifiedmindfulness.com link that I just dropped in. That is a 100% online free workshop that Unified Mindfulness has done, I want to say every year since, totally free, like Paul pointed out. They've done it every year since 2018, I think. Maybe 2017. Maybe the link says the year that it is. 6th annual. So it is 2018. Or 6th annual if I'm doing my math right. Okay, so friend of the channel, Ralph Andradez should probably be doing more than one session. When it comes to Ralph's kind of a superstar. So, well, not kind of. He is, most definitely. So, yeah, so Colette, you might be hearing the clock again. It spontaneously started back up. It was like not making noise, so that's cool. But yeah. And then thinking of you, Ruth, I saw the busy with the estate sale. I think I know what that means. Yeah, Ralph is super, super cool. Yeah. I'm like the king of long pauses today. So trying to get back in normal people world with live streams and email reminders and all the other sort of things that are out there. It's been kind of interesting to be to be sort of living out of a 22 and a half foot travel trailer for the last 5-6 days, and then contemplating whether or not, like, when are we gonna go kayaking? So inflatable kayaking nonetheless. But oh, that's cool to hear, Paul, that you got to know Ralph from here. So, and hey, Allison, welcome. Yeah, so I haven't heard the good news from Meditation Party, but folks will know last week was Dan, 7A, and Jeff were at Omega doing Meditation Party, and then I guess they're headed to Florida. So if you get Jeff's emails or find on jeffwarren.org, find out information about that. If you happen to be in the Florida area, my understanding is it's still happening. And that's going to be Jeff, Dan, and 7A again. And then I think Jeff is doing meditations. It's a 3-day sort of more 3-day expo, I think. And Jeff will be doing meditations each day. So, all right. Did I miss saying hi? I think I have said hi to everybody, hopefully. And we're all the way up to 13. So, as Ruth is often a reminder of, don't forget to like if you enjoy today's sit. We're going to be back to basics. And we're just going to we're going to do focus out. Oh, hello, Taryn. Hopefully, Taryn or Taran. I'm guessing, well, could be long A. Welcome. It's good to have you. Yeah, it's coming back into the regular world now, and I'm sort of like, okay, so Taran, hopefully. And excellent to have Catherine Maddox. If you have the name of a famous baseball player, I'm going to get that name right, or a family name, I should say. So, all right. Enough chitter chatter, pitter patter, whatever. I'm clearly am not back at my operating wavelength. Okay, so I was right the first time. Nice. Okay. Nice. Thank you. I'm always guessing long A's because I know long A's are a Canadian thing. And then hopefully you've had a good week. I think it would be a shortened week if you are north of the border, with it being Thanksgiving on Monday. So focus out before I got off on a totally nonchalant, yes, I do mean a long A. Thank you. Ruth will be here the whole sit. Trying to think of what a good I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waitress. The standard the standard lines. So focus out is probably the thing I go to, and I'll do that in unified mindfulness style. And then we'll do a 25-minute sit. We'll finish with 5 minutes of nothing, and so focus out is really, if we think about how we concentrate on experience. So the one way of looking at experience in the unified mindfulness perspective is we're always training 3 skills, and that's the skill of concentration, clarity, or sensory clarity. So what we're talking about when we're saying clarity is the clarity of our sensory experience, and equanimity. Jeff adds in a 4th skill, so that gives us 4 total, and that's care. And Jeff talks a little bit about it, but it's really the way in which we operate in those other 3 skills, and that Jeff sees that as a skill in and of itself. But for focus out, we're just saying you can have eyes open or closed, your choice. But if you have eyes open, then you have see out, you have feel out, and you have hear out. So for me, focus out, or for most people, We could say it's hear out, feel out, because their eyes are closed. But that's our technique. And then the form of our technique, or the instruction for how we focus, is this notion that we're going to, in essence, say feel out is our focus range. And the instructions for that is when we realize that we've been lost in thought, we've been taken away by thought, we've been taken away by mental images, we've been taken away by emotional body sensations. We notice them, see if we can avoid the here in, the mental talk that's like, oh crap, there I am, I'm doing it again. And then come back to feel out. And really part of the reason I think I lean on this is it gets me out of my head, gets me back into the body, gets me back into the senses. There's, I've been learning more about Fritz Perls, who is, I think you would classify him as being like an early, one of the early psychoanalysts. And there's this like from the maybe late 50s, early 60s, just like three, yes, Gestalt. Thank you, Paul. There's this three pioneers or three pillars where they all work with the same woman, and it's this like sort of open version of therapy. Anyway, Fritz Perls, some may know him from that, but he apparently had this line, which is go out of your mind, come back to your senses. I think that's the quote. So the notion of like go out of your mind, would most of us that mean like that we were unhinged, or we were crazy or something like that. Like crazy again, not being the, and I use that as a colloquialism, not as a correct or noting its incorrectness. So out of your mind, come back to your senses. And that back to your senses is really another way of saying what you often hear in the Zen world of like, be where your feet are. This idea of like grounding, again, is not Zen, but grounding in general, being other practices for that sort of same thing. So that's more words than you needed. Hopefully some that are useful. I have a striker and I have a bell, and I will invite it to make a luscious ringing noise for us. And again, 25 minutes. I'm going to get my 25-minute timer on, which I have. So not 30, but 25. And thank you so much for making time out of your Wednesday and or Thursday morning to be here. All right. So again, if you want, you can sort of think that the sit started the minute you logged into YouTube, but for a lot of us, the formal portion of the meditation starts now. Excuse me, with the bell. And then establishing the posture really is this key thing. So I will focus on the seated posture, either in a chair, on a cushion, or seated on a bench, but you could be walking, standing, lying down, totally valid. And really, we're aiming for an upright posture, upright without being uptight. And then just seeing kind of what is here already. So maybe there's a little bit of feeling of mental drag, maybe. That's what I kind of feel like at the moment, or like a slowness, not as quick in the mental acuity. Maybe you feel like you're kind of over redlining. Maybe there's a tiredness. So any of those things, just kind of acknowledging. This is our start state for the meditation. And then a few deliberate breaths. Slow and low is the tempo that we're going for. And breathing in through the nose allows us to slow that breath down and breathe low into the belly. And then the turnaround, sort of extending and accentuating the exhale. And those longer exhales really help to allow us to settle in. And so the setup, if your eyes are closed, setup is really sounds, physical body sensations. So my environment may be bleeding into your environment. Colette, notice the clock is back. So you may hear that. The fans from my computer. Maybe it's the contact points of where you're seated. Example of a physical body sensation. So where you're concentrating, soaking the attention in, noting that, and then optionally using a label. For sounds, we use hear, H-E-A-R, and for body sensations, we use feel. And then last little thing, just on the off chance that you have eyes open, and that label would just be see. So again, focus out. That's our technique. Let you explore on your own. Check in a bit. So I'm going to offer some options, but you can continue just as you are. It's a totally valid way of approaching the sit. So if you're in a good spot, great, continue. So if the labeling is a little bit awkward, you can always experiment with dropping the labels. If you think the labels, again, they're optional. If you think they're disturbing or making it more difficult, you can always drop them. Think of it, there's sort of a knowing that's already there. You sort of know that it's feel, or you know that it's here, or you know that it's sort of out of the focus range. And the label is meant to support. The other option is that if you still kind of feel like you need more support, you can dial that in and get more frequency to the labels. So you can repeat them. And the last option is you can decide to choose one of the two, hear or feel, or see, I guess one of the three, and narrow just to that aspect of experience. So there's some options, and again, everything's working out. Keep on keeping on. So again, you're always welcome to continue. Here I'm just giving you a time cue and letting you know this is your opportunity to let go of the technique and do nothing. I just kind of think of it borrowing from Jeff here of like we're using the technique, we're pedaling and pedaling and pedaling along, and here in the final stretch we can just coast. Our sit is ended. I'll ring the bell to signal it is complete. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for making time to be here on a Wednesday or a Thursday morning if you're in Australia, or you're across the international date line, I should say. Curious if anybody has reports or anything. You love the clock. Okay. So we're glad the clock is back. It was touch and go there for a bit, Ruth. I didn't know if the clock was going to make a return or not. So you're incredibly welcome, Catherine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Colette. You're welcome. Annalisa, appreciate everyone being here on a Wednesday. So to my knowledge, Jeff is your host for Sunday. And then Fred, as some of you know from here, from this community, as well as the Do Nothing Project, has accepted the invitation to be a moderator. So really appreciate that to Fred. And then I'm doing the gussying up with a thumbnail and a title and all that stuff for Brooke, who was the guest host on Sunday. So and folks here know Brooke from, one, being part of the community, and two, for filling in back in January. So really excited about the fact that Brooke and Fred both were getting a chance to do that on Sunday. So excellent, Deb. Yeah, I'm afraid that the bell. I will be moderating, Paul. It was just that was a little bit of a help with coverage. So we do have we have had in the past larger numbers, and then with me traveling and gallivanting around, sometimes I miss, and then sometimes there's been a few nights where either I didn't let people know or there was just no moderator. So that's part of it. That's a coverage thing. I do know that for some the bell is a startle response. So and there are a few folks that may not be getting reminders, although the reminders are late, or I shouldn't say late, they're day of, so they are technically reminders. But if you send a email to that email address that I just posted in chat, I'll add you to the reminder list. Yeah, the food fight, we've been reasonably knock on my IKEA desk, lucky without needing to have too many moderator actions taken, I should say. And if there's a food fight, hopefully it's the vegan pumpkin pie. Although don't waste the vegan pumpkin pie. Yeah, Ruth, I have contemplated recording the clock and posting a 15 or 25-minute video of just the clock audio. So if that is something that's of interest, I've been thinking about doing that. Wondering if I can mic it up right. But yeah, so I have thought about doing the clock and just taking a picture of the clock and then making that the video thumbnail and everything. So all right, so if you like that idea, then that's a gag that makes it worth it. If there's just a couple folks, totally makes it worth it. Yeah, and then thanks to I forget Fritz Perls is Gestalt. Gestalt is a group I feel like I need to know more about the Gestalt. Like, I don't know, it feels like it was the right group. Maybe is not right. There shouldn't be right and wrong. I don't know, but anyway, I find a lot of what I read around the folks that were Gestalt practitioners resonates with me. So the top of the hour is rapidly approaching, and I know folks will have to saunter off or twirl and disappear. So yes, the ticks are so irregular. And I think, Ruth, that the clock has become more irregular. So I can tell you that it does not keep time correctly. And then also that the hands move together because one of the gears just rounded out on the other hands. So, um, but it is yes, excellent point, Paul. It's impermanence. I'm currently reading. Folks may know Tuttle as an imprint that does a lot of Buddhist books, and there's a line of books they put out that Tuttle put out that are all they're all Japanese philosophy. Um, Ikigai probably is the most famous of those, but I'm reading Wabi Sabi, and so I'm wondering, Paul. I have to think about this. I'm wondering if the clock might be a example of Wabi Sabi. It's because it's impermanence, but it's also the imperfection of it that is chef's kiss. So everyone have a great rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week. Have an excellent rest of your Thursday for those tuning in. Thank you for those that are watching the recordings. I do appreciate it. I do see you out there. I see the little bump in the recording views. So thank you so much. And yes, I will call it Wabi Sabi Clock. And then the thumbnail will probably have to be color, but the video can be black and white. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for holding tight, and I will see you on Sunday and then next week.